Me with analysis to the president's new plan for the Middle East, Arizona Senator John McCain. Senator, as always, welcome back to the program. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Sean.
I think it's deeper than throwing Israel under the bus. We promised Israel. I have a 2004 letter from U.S. President George Bush to Prime Minister Sharon promising America would never do this to Israel. Your reaction, sir?
Yes, that was in exchange for, as you know, the Israel turning over the West Bank and Gaza to the Palestinians. First, could I mention I was pleased to hear the president speak for democracy. I wish he had, and the demonstrators, I wish he had done that in behalf of the demonstrators in early 2009 who were saying, Obama, Obama, whose side are you on? And he came out and said he didn't want to jeopardize his chances to negotiate with the Islamic Republic of Iran. So I was pleased to see him speaking up for democracy in these Middle Eastern countries. I think they're making the same mistake that they made at the beginning of the administration. As you may recall, as a precondition, President Obama called for a freeze on all settlements. And then, of course, later on dropped that as a requirement, but the Palestinians kept it as a requirement. And so this is setting a limitation on the boundaries of the state of Israel without regard to the Israelis having a country that they can defend militarily. And when you look at one of the partners or one of the groups, Hamas, who control Gaza, are committed to the extinction of the state of Israel, then you can certainly understand why Prime Minister Netanyahu would be very reluctant to support such a proposal. We all want peace talks. We all want a settlement. We all want that. Why can't we just say, everybody sit down and you can work this out, the right of return, water, there are many a myriad of issues, and if you truly are committed, first thing you need to do is commit to your recognition of the right of the state of Israel to exist.
You've hit the key point in my mind here. Before you can have any negotiations, now we have a unity pact between Fatah and Hamas. Hamas's charter calls for the destruction of Israel. It seems to me that we took our closest ally and we emboldened those that they're supposed to negotiate with, because their position now will forever be, well, even the United States agrees with us, and meanwhile it will compromise their security in a multitude of ways. Why would the president insist that our allies, our very close ally, sit down with people that have in their charter the call for Israel's destruction? Why would a president do that?
Well, I guess the president is assuming that Hamas will abandon their commitment to the destruction of the state of Israel.
Big assumption.
But see, this is one in a series, I guess, but this is one in a series where we ask the Israelis to make unilateral concessions in return for promises of Palestinian commitments that would be commensurate, in consonance with it, and would move forward with the peace process. Consistently, the Israelis have made concessions at our insistence, and there has not been any cooperation on the part of our Palestinian friends. Now, I think there's some good people in Palestine. I think that there's some who are committed to peace. Prime Minister Fayyad is a very fine individual, and there's some there. But the rulers of Hamas and Hezbollah in the north, as you know, have made no bones about their commitment that they have to destroy Israel. Look at their commemoration just the other day of the founding of the state of Israel as they rush the borders of Israel.
Yeah, well, Lebanon's taken over by Hezbollah, which is the guerrilla wing, basically, of Iran. You've got Gaza now, the Gaza Strip by Hamas, dedicated to Israel's destruction. You got Syria, a mortal enemy. You got the Muslim Brotherhood now, as I predicted, and the administration got wrong, and he even repeated it today. They seemed in line with an agreement with the military to be the front runner. They said prepare for war with Israel during the so-called democracy movement. And Jordan has been weakened. So now, what are we talking about protection-wise for Israel in the end? And how dangerous do you think it's going to be for them? And what do you think Bibi Netanyahu ought to do?
Well, first of all, could I point out that the Syrians trucked Palestinians down to the Israeli border a couple of days ago on the anniversary of the founding of Israel, and that was an active participation by the Syrians. Why? Because they wanted to divert attention from this brutal dictator that's massacring his own people that up until recently our Secretary of State and others said was a, quote, reformer. You might recall that. This guy is a butcher. And I'm talking about Bashar Assad. And obviously, we should be calling for his removal from office. And I'm not talking about military means, but we should be standing up for the people of Syria. I think that, you know, and timing is interesting on all these things. Yeah. As you know, Prime Minister Netanyahu is viewed to come to Washington this weekend, to give a major statement, so a major speech to AIPAC.
Right, here's my final
what's
question,
happening
Senator.
in the Arab world? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Only because I'm running out of time, and I'm going to be interviewing Prime Minister Netanyahu. But this is really important. Fundamentally, it seems that the president somehow thinks that we can have peace in our time. He really believes that if people are calling for your destruction and thousands of rockets are being fired into your cities, this is what bothers me. He doesn't seem to understand the danger of Islamic radicalism, terrorism, the Muslim Brotherhood, Islamic Jihad, radicalism, Hezbollah, Hamas. There's something missing here, Senator. What do you think it is?
An appreciation of the nature of the people who are bent on the destruction of the state of Israel. And at least we should expect a recognition of the state of Israel's right to exist, everything on the table, every issue on the table, and sit down, and people of goodwill who really want peace can come to an agreement. And there is urgency to getting a peace agreement because we don't know how things are going to turn out in the Middle East. It could easily, what has so far been pro-democracy, could turn into an anti-Israel sentiment, and that could lay the grounds for further conflict if we're not careful. I share the president's sense of urgency.
Yeah, but weakness, history has proven, incurs aggression and does not, appeasement doesn't work. This seems very appeasement-oriented. Senator, good to see you. I know you have a big event you got to run to. Appreciate your time tonight.
Thanks for having me on.
And coming up, the